Wadup. So in one of the previous videos, we discussed about basic authentication. We saw the flow, how base64 encoding and decoding is done, and how we can use that kind of authentication to, create something and all. But now in this one, we are going to go a next step further and see how JWT works. And we already had a theoretical video on that. In case if you have not seen that, I would recommend watching that because that talks about differences between JWT and session-based authentication, why JWT is efficient, and so on. And we also have discussed about basic authentication. I've also created a specific video for basic authentication where we have discussed about the flow and how it is done and all that. So let's get started. So for JWT, we first need to add a package which makes our life pretty much simpler, which is just JWT. And meanwhile, this is getting added. So let's see how it will work. Okay, so once we are, in basic auth, and once the basic auth is validated, like it goes successful, we will generate a JWT, and from that JWT, we will pass it to front end. And after that, any request that we make, anything like any basically authenticated request that needs, authorization, for that we will be using JWT. Okay, and then we will be basically accessing all kind of protected routes using JWT. Okay, so let's quickly set that up. So I think installation is complete. That's great. Now let's go to let's create a environment file where we will store our JWT secret. So let's say JWT secret key. So for those of you who are not familiar with this, this secret key is basically the key that we will be using for basically encrypting our data. This is the key that will be opening, basically locking and unlocking the payload. So this will be stored in the server. And in case if you want to get a better context, again, I would definitely, say to go and check out that old video where we are discussing the theory of JWT. And unless you don't do next public, something like this and the variable name, this won't be exposed to your front end. This would only be exposed to your backend. So this keys remain secure with your backend. Okay. So this is one thing. Now this is done. Now let's go to our login route. So if you remember, what we did in basic authentication was we got the header, and then if it is not authorized, we were returning a missing auth token response. Then we split it, and we will check if the authentication is not basic. Then also we will return invalid authentication type. Then we will get the decoded token. Basically, whatever base64 string that we got, we will decode it and get the email and password. And then we will check if the email exists. So this is a JSON database that we created. Let me open it from here if it is taking time. Yeah, so we can add as many users as possible. Of course, this is not how the databases would be storing your credentials. It would be storing in a highly, centralized cloud, and this would be properly hashed and salted so that you don't see the direct passwords. Anyways, so then once we are there, we check everything like users. We confirm the password also, and if everything was fine, then we were returning email, password, and logged in as true. Okay, but from here onwards, we need to perform, instead of returning email, password, we will be returning JWT token. Okay, so JWT implementation, let's quickly write the code for the same. Okay, so it's very, very straightforward because JWT library makes things pretty simple for us. So let's have it. I think it should be JSON web token. Uh, and I think I added a wrong package, so let me remove that. Actually, it's JSON web token. We shortly denote it as, JWT. There would be definitely some package which is JWT also, but the one that I was referring to, it was JSON web token and not JWT. Okay, so now if I refresh my window, refresh. Wait, let me see what was the command. Refresh window. Reload. Maybe I think it's reload. And so now it is coming up. So let's quickly do the implementation. JWT implementation. All right. So here we will store few things. Let's say we are going to store user email, user role maybe, and then what else? User email, user role, uh, time to expire. So expiration time. Okay. And what else? I think for now this is simple enough. So let's keep it like this. And I'm not sure. And I think we also need to add the type dependencies. So yarn add, because we are using TypeScript, so we need to do it like this. Okay, now I think we are good. So let's quickly reload window again. All right, hopefully this time we are good. So we have this expiration time and everything that we will be storing in. Okay, so let's quickly change our users database. Instead of storing it like this, let's have password, and let's also have role. So let's say this guy is maybe admin. Okay, so we will be storing it like this, and we will do what is password equal to users dot types of user dot password. So this will make more sense now. And now let's create a JWT object. So user equal to email, comma, let's actually, let's do something about this. Const user equal to, okay, and why is it complaining? Okay, it's saying its value is never read. So let's have it here. It's okay, it's saying redeclaration is happening for some reason. Why would it say, okay, we have it here as well. So let's say payload, let's keep it as payload, okay, user payload. And then we have password and we don't need to do this again. So just user dot password should be good enough. And email and then role. Um, Actually, we don't need this. So we will have user, okay. And then we need to const encrypted token equal to JWT dot sign, I believe. And then payload will be something, and then we need to process dot environment dot what is the variable name that we got. It is JWT secret key, and for some reason if it does not detect it, some random key, I mean because we have to make sure that we don't get those type errors. It must not be undefined. For that I'm putting it like this, okay. So this is the encrypted token. As you can see, we are signing a token where we are storing this payload, and our signing secret key is this one, okay. And then if it is successful, then we will send, instead of email password, we will send uh, token, which will be encrypted token, and type would be bearer. Okay, so this will be the implementation in the backend. Let's quickly check this out. So let me quickly spin up the development server, yarn dev, and now it is running. So let me go to Thunder client and let's quickly make a request. Auth body headers. Okay, we already have the header, so let's send a request. It says password is incorrect. Okay, that is weird. Some random password. Let's quickly log it out. User dot password. Let's see why is it complaining. Uh, Password comma user dot password. Okay, let's try to make a request again. Some random password one. Okay, we had changed it, so let's change it here itself instead of redoing everything. So here you can see I'm getting this token, and of course I need to add the bearer also. I mean expiration also. So let's quickly spread this operation. Let's say expiration expires in equal to new date dot get time plus maybe how much, because this is in milliseconds, so we need to multiply the seconds by 1000. uh, Const token validation time equal to, let's say how many seconds, maybe I think 300 seconds, just for testing purposes. Let's keep it like this. So we will do it like this, token validation time, and then we will add this expires in as well. So I think this looks fine to me. And now let's go and make a call again. So now we have got this gibberish string. As I told you that this would be totally, it cannot be decoded by anything else. Only the person who would be having, secret key, only they could decode it, okay? So we are now doing it like this. So this is fine. Now let's go back to our front end component, index.tsx. So we have data, and then we can actually store it in a redux state, but let's keep things simple. So we will just store it, for now in local storage dot set item identification, sorry, ID token, comma data. And what are we expecting data to be? Let's see. If I go to login, it is JSON token. Yeah. So let's just keep it like this, data dot token. Okay. Set ID token is data dot token. Okay. And let's be super sure that it is stored. So stored data dot token. Okay. Let's quickly test it out. Testing at gmail.com. Some random password one. So it's saying stored. Okay. So this token is now stored. All right. So let's say once this is stored, now we want to create a protected API. So let me create one protected, let's say user details. Okay, so here we will again import next API handler from next. Const handler is next API handler equal to request response. Okay, now here I would access the authorization equal to request dot body, not body, request dot headers dot authorization. Okay, and let me quickly copy paste some boilerplate. We had it here. So if not of authorization, we need to, okay, and then after this const auth type comma token equal to authorization dot split. All right, and then again we need to do some copy pasting here. So if token type dot to lowercase is not equal to bearer, invalid authentication type. So this also looks good. But now once we are reaching here, we need to, verify the token. Okay. So we will say const verified equal to, again, we will use JWT, import JWT from JSON web token, JWT dot verify the token that we get, and then process dot env dot, what was this? Again, JWT secret key, or the same thing that we used here, we will use the same. We can keep it in a constant and do all this, but yeah, let's have it like this. So this will be, this can active verification fails, then, we will get an error. So we need to keep it in a try catch block. So let's keep it as try and then catch error. And then we need to return a response saying that it is an invalid token type. Invalid, or let's keep it as user is not authorized. Okay. Now we need to take care of one more case here. So we need to cast it as what was the type. It is, let's quickly create an interface. Interface I verified user. And of course, you should keep interfaces in a separate file, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm doing it like this. So user, we have what? Password and role, right? We don't need password and role. I think we need email and role as user.role. So email will be string, role will again be string, and then expires in will be number. Okay. And let's actually keep it in a separate file only. Interfaces slash index.ts, and we need to add one more, jwt.ts, and let's export it from here. And then let's go to export type, what was it? I verified from. Okay. And as we have I verified user. Okay. So what we will do is we will check const time equal to new date. We may need to make sure that it has not expired. So new date dot get time. If time is less than uh, verified dot expires in, that means it has already expired. So we need to return response dot status 401. Actually, let me copy this whole thing. Session expired. Please log in again. Okay. And else return response dot status, let's say 200 dot JSON logged in true, some secret user data. Okay. So let's go through our code once again. We are first collecting authorization token from the header. We are checking if they have supplied it. If not, we are returning a response. Then we are getting a token type and token by splitting it using space. We are checking if it's a bearer token. If not, then we are returning invalid authentication type. Then we are trying to verify the JWT, and if it is verified, we are expecting it to be I verified user. And then we are checking new date dot get time. If time is less than verify expires in, that means the token is expired. So we are asking to relog in. Otherwise, we are sending some super secret user data that that may be there. Okay. So we need to do export default handler. Now let's go to the index page and let's have a button called, let's actually copy paste this one right away and get protected data. Okay. So this will only be fetched when we have, when we are authorized. So let's say on submit handler we have, so on get data handler maybe. So here we will just do a fetch call. So let me just copy paste it there. Uh, we will do, instead of basic, we will use bearer, and here we will do mm, local storage dot get item, and the item is ID token, and if it is not there, then it will accordingly handle it, and we don't need all of this. Yeah. So API, instead of login, we will go to protected, then user details. Okay. Then response dot data, and let's have a data state const sensitive data. set sensitive data equal to react.useState, and we of course don't need this. So set sensitive data, we will do here data, okay? And we need to use data property here, and we will just do data.data. So whatever we are getting in from there, and we'll do like this, and we will do a conditional rendering, sensitive data not equal to empty string, and then uh, we will do what, paragraph sensitive data, okay? And let's have this data. All right, that is fine. And let's have a catch block here in case if it fails. Error console.log error equal to error.message, and we need to set sensitive data to empty string, and we need to copy paste and do the same here as well. Okay, so I think our front end is also ready on get data handler. Let's do it here, and let's quickly reload testing. I think login, it's working fine. Now let's click sensitive data. It says 401. Let's see why. uh, what is the error? Unauthorized. Let's quickly see. Session expired, please log in again. Okay, so it's saying session has expired, so let's quickly try to log in again. Wait, why is the catch block not catching the error? Okay, because JSON is anyways getting converted. So data dot data, uh, if data dot logged in is true, else console dot log error equal to data. Okay, see, the reason is that it won't fall into this catch block. It will return data dot whatever the error we get, 401. It will give it like this. So if it is logged in, then only we want to set it, otherwise we will send the error log. Okay, so that is one thing. Now the other thing is that when we are trying to log in, let's see, yeah, here when we are trying to log in, we should actually get get time 1000 into token validation time. So I'm not sure why it's not going like that. So let's quickly console log this. Expiry time expires in, so it should expire in 300 seconds, but for some reason it is giving us token expiry. And let's quickly check here also. So we are trying if the decode new dot get time, if this time is less than, okay, sorry, this time should be greater than, not less than. Yeah, my bad. Because ideally what is happening is we have expiry time of, let's say, if the current timestamp is 450 and we are having 300, so 750 is the expiry time. So the current time that whenever we are making request to this use detail, let's say it's 500, so 500 should be less than, right? So if 500 goes beyond, like if it goes to 800, let me make it more clear what we are doing here. Let's have a commented block. So whenever this route is running, that is current time, okay? So the current time variable is this time that you see in here, okay? Each time this route runs, we are fetching current time. Now this verified dot expires in is the token expiry time, okay? So token expiry time. All right, so the token expiry time would be whenever we log in, so login time plus 300 seconds. All right, so if my current time is greater than this guy, I mean login time, this token expiry time. So if my current time is greater than token expiry time, that means token has expired, right? And that is what we are doing it here. Before this we were actually doing token expiry time less than, which doesn't make sense, because it will, if the token time is 300 seconds plus, so it will after 300 seconds it would expire, but after that time it will show me as non-expired time, which doesn't make sense. Okay, so that is why we have to do this change. And let's go back and try it once again. So we will log in, we store the data, and let's try get, so you can see some secret user data, and let's try to reduce the seconds. So let's make it maybe 10 seconds, and we can remove this guy, we can remove any other logs. I think there was one more console log, yeah, this one. And if we go like this now, so let's say if we do a login, so you can see that it is stored, and if I click on get protected data, it is giving me the data. But let's wait for 10 seconds. And now if I click on get protected data, it says session expired. All right, so this is what, how you can have JWTs in place and do all kind of this authentication stuff. And let's quickly run through it one more final time. So we have a login route, we are signing a JWT that can only be decoded with this secret environment key that stays in the backend. Once we sign it, we return the response as an encrypted token. In the front end, if we get the success response, we are storing it in the local storage. And then on get data handler, we are, fetching the protected route, which is user's details. So what it is expecting is it is expecting this, lowercase bearer token, and then we're getting this using jwt.verify. And once that is verified, everything looks fine. Then we give them the some secret user data. Okay. And now we can add as many, let's say, what do I say, user passcode, let's say, or user balance. Let's have an arbitrary function, which basically does the same thing, and it has the same implementation. And let's say data balance, we can have something like math.random into, let's say, 2000 and or 20,000, and then we will do a math.floor. So this function is very similar to, user this user details, and let's have it, let's call this one also. So instead of user details, user balance. Okay. So if I go back and try to refresh it and get protected data, of course the token has expired because we reduced the time, so we have to log in again. So let's again change it to 300 seconds, and let's first log in, clear it out, get data, we get this balance. Okay. Now you must be thinking that if I go to balance, you might be thinking that okay, wait, I have to write this whole logic again and again for each route. And the answer is no. We can actually extract this logic as a middleware. So let's create middleware with user protect.ts, and let's export const middleware, sorry, with user protect, which is basically uh, which expects a handler function, which is next API handler, and then it returns. Okay, I think we need to next API request, and similarly next API response. Okay, and we can extract the logic that we wrote in here. So this whole thing, uh, let's just quickly copy this up and paste it here. So we have everything here, headers and all authorization. I think we need to, and we also need to import JWT from JSON web token. Okay, so here everything looks fine. So we have a protector. So we are doing token type, try verified, and then we are doing new date.get time if time expires else. So in this case, we are going to, return handler of request comma response. Okay, so this is how we will return. For all other cases, we will do the other thing. Okay, and we need to, we need to pass this also. So let's say request dot body dot what do I say, user equal to verified. Okay, so this way, sorry, wait, why is it complaining? Okay, I think instead of else, we can just remove else. Yeah, so now we will get it from the body dot user. Okay, so let's go back to the balance, and now we can just simplify it. So const user equal to, let's, because we want to typecast it, so let's not destructure it. Request dot body dot user as I verify user, and console log this user equal to, user. And in this we can have the actual logic. So const balance equal to math dot floor of math dot random into 20,000, and then I think this time it became 2 lakh. So return response dot status of 200 dot JSON, where it says logged into true, and I think it should be logged in. So let me quickly pick that directly from here. So logged into true, and then, data to balance. Okay, so if I do it like this, and we have it, and now we need to import with, or I think we will get auto suggestion. So with user protect, yeah, this one, and then we need to wrap our handler inside this. So hopefully this should work. Let's quickly check it out. Let's remove everything. Let's click on login. Now let's click on get protected, and as you can see, it is working as expected. So now this one, we have just the logic that is supposed to be in here. We can again route, protect the user details route in the same way. So we will have the same logic with user protect, mm, and then wrap it out. And then, out of all this, we can just have this one liner because this is already abstracted in our middleware. So we can remove all of it. And that is how you can, uh, let me change the API endpoint, user details. And if I go back and click on get protected data, you can see that it is working as expected. All right. So that is how you can create your custom logic and encapsulate it out of your actual endpoints, and then you can protect them all using this higher order function. Okay, so I hope this was a helpful tutorial. You got to know and understand how you can create JWT authentication, how you can use it, you can map in custom data and do all sorts of stuff. For all this code I will be adding in the Git repo. You can always refer to this different authentications JWT and see it for your reference. Other than that, I think this made you pretty clear about JWT concepts, and even if you still have any questions, feel free to ping it down in the comments. I would love to answer that. Thanks again.